had a student send me a video, and he was asking me questions basically about rounds and time rounds and the length of the rounds and so on. You know, and there's nothing wrong with the video. It's a good video about was the length of the round really applicable to the sport of jiu-jitsu. So there's a couple of ways to look at this. One, let's be open-minded and understand that no matter what set time is on your round clock, it's the right time. Okay, there's benefits to everything. All right. I'll give you an example. So, of being 1 year shy of my second degree in black belt, I've been teaching since I was a purple belt. All right. I think I started teaching after my first year as a purple belt in my academy. It was, I'm sorry, at the academy I was at, it's not my academy. And at that time, it was such an honor. It's still a great honor to teach others, you know, what I'm passionate about and how it made me into a better man. But with that said, though, I spent 5 years as a purple belt. And, you know, like most people would tell you that probably purple belt is their most learning experience level because it's where you become most humble. Well, during that time as a purple belt, I was only teaching basics, and we did a lot of different types of variations of rounds. And I carried that over into advanced classes, which is basically what I pretty much teach now. God, the sun's bad. So, with that said, let's talk about some of those rounds. Let's look at 1 minute rounds. There's ways to look at this. Let's go 1 minute round. All right, we're looking at, look, this is it. In 1 minute, you don't have a choice. I need you to sub the person. I need you to sub them out. You've got 1 minute. All right. So we look at it from a competition standpoint. The person on the bottom already knows, or should I say your opponent already knows you're coming after them. Like, that's the whole point of the martial art, right? Self-defense. But we're rolling. I'm trying to submit you. You're trying to submit me. But when you're pressured into that 1 minute zone, you start to do things that you normally wouldn't do. Now, two things happen. One, you start to apply a more sense of urgency, where often you would second guess yourself because you think, well, you know, I'm moving too fast. Now, I'm using too much strength. I'm not using my technique. So. These things that are in the back of your mind, where when you've got 1 minute left, you got 30 seconds left. Now you're like, I gotta go. I mean, I've got to make it work. I've got to make it work. I've got to get this up. I've got to win. I got to win. And you start to learn that, you know what, maybe I was moving a little slow in my application. So that's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it is from like a self-defense standpoint, all right? Or still a point, you know, standpoint from tournament-wise is, am I on top? All right? Am I on top? So sometimes I'll have rounds, and like, I don't care if you can submit them. I want you to be dominant. I want you to be on top, destroying your opponent, destroying them. Why is that? Well, self-defense. If I'm in the street, the last fucking place I want to be is on my back. All right? I do not want to be on my back hoping to catch something. All right? I want to be on top so I'm aware of my surroundings, so I'm safe. All right? You know, a street fight is much different than a competition sport, jiu-jitsu. It's harder in jiu-jitsu because they actually know how to fight. It's more dangerous in the street for the fact that there's multiple people. There's objects, you know, people don't fight fair, whatever that means, you know, gouge your eyes out, bite, things like that. So being on the bottom is not where you want to be. That 1 minute round, fighting for that top position is top control, okay? If you were up in points but can't submit the person and you finish on top in a point situation, you win. That's positive. If you are in a pro event where there's no points and you end on top, you're showing aggression. And if they have to pick a winner, it's going to lean towards you and your aggressiveness. All right? 3-minute rounds, 4-minute rounds, 5-minute rounds. You often see 5-minute rounds because it's just common with MMA and this and that. 5 minutes on, 1 minute off, blah, blah, blah. I do a lot of different combinations. I don't think there's anything wrong. I've been moving to a lot of 6-minute rounds, 1 minute off. Our new thing that I like to do in our school and in my class is we'll do a lot of 6 or 7-minute rounds, and we got 2 minutes off. All right. I want to make sure that we are completely re-energized and we go back at it. Now, that's an implication that I'll only really use when we got some good high-level competitions coming up, because I want us to be able to not subjectively hold myself back because I know I've got multiple rounds. You know, I'm looking to get 3 to 5 rounds in total for the class. But on that 5th round, I want you on the verge of vomiting because you've pushed the pace so high, so hard, that you left it all out there on the mat. But we're getting 2 minutes rest in between. Now, I would like to rest longer, but, you know, we've got to be realistic with life and things like that. But when we push the pace, and we give a little bit more complete rest, it allows us to come back in that next round at a very high level source of energy. And anytime that happens, you're just more confident. You're more confident in your skill set doing certain things that you may have not done before because now you're tired. So as we begin to work through those tired stages, we also begin to work through like in competition. Like when you go to competition, you don't wrestle every 2 minutes. You know, you don't grapple every 3 minutes. You know, you got a pretty good long break, so you have time to recover. All right, so we want to be able to mimic that style of going in and going hard and laying it all out on the line and knowing that what's no big deal, I'm just going to take a break after this. Okay? Looking at some team competitions coming up, and, you know, if you're first guy in and you win, you got to fight the next guy and you got to stay, and you got to fight the next guy and you got to stay. But even with that process, you still have like a 2-minute break. Like by the time they stop the match, raise your hand, announce the next person, guy comes in, slap bumps the hand, get started. I mean, you're well into the 2-minute mark. And some of those competitions purposely have a 2-minute break before starting up on the next one. So even though you may go round after round after round in a team competition, you're still having those breaks in between. So we're trying to mimic that style so we can still learn to push that pace. Now, the other situation is no time, all right? That's a really good one too. That one's really, really good for beginners and advanced, not middle tier. Now, it works for everybody, but beginners watch the clock because they're getting tired. So they're trying to do something, or they're just trying to wait it out because they're gassed out, something. A lot of different scenarios. Advanced guys might feel like, oh, I kind of let the lower belt go a little hard. Now I'm kind of stuck in a bad spot. They're not good enough to submit me, but you created a bad habit of sitting on your back, all right? I'm safe, I'm not getting submitted, but technically, you're fucked. You're on your back. You would be losing in competition. You'd be losing in the street. So you're creating a bad habit inside your head, all right? You're creating a complacency, and complacency will destroy your progress in jiu-jitsu, all right? So when you do no time, I just simply say out of nowhere, all right, that's it, guys. Time's up. Take a break. You're forced to constantly working on your game. You're constantly be forced to work to that top position. You're constantly working to make sure that you're in control of the role, because you don't know when it's ending. You don't know when it's coming to the end. You don't have no fucking clue on when it's time to let's take a little break here, this and that. You got to really start balancing out your conditioning, your strength, and your technique all together, working together as a cohesive unit, so that way you don't overtire out, you don't blow your wad. If you do blow your wad, you learn to recover back, get into good position, get back out into a bad position, get out of the good bad position, back into good position, back, blah, 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 blah. All right, so when it comes to times, there is no perfect time, but at the same time, they're all perfect. You can hunt for positions, you can hunt for submissions, you can do for, like I said, mental capacity, working under pressure that there is no time, so you don't know when it's stopping. It could be 10-minute rounds, okay? So don't look for the time. Don't ask what time is. Don't ask like, well, when's the clock going off or anything like that. Just simply be acceptive of, this is my opportunity to learn, and I can't wait to get better.